Hello, and welcome back to Get Into Game Dev. In this video, we are going to continue writing pixels to the screen, and we're going to write text. Let's have some fun. Let's get into it. So, what I'm going to need to do is let's make some basic text first. So I'm going to need to create a font object, and I can do this with Pygame font, right? And the thing that I really need to specify, actually nothing right now. By default, I don't need to specify anything. I just have a font object. And what we can do with the font object is we can render text. So I can say font, render. We take in a few things. We take in the text, so I'm just going to make Pong. Then we take in whether we want to anti-alias or not. Just to keep things simple, I'm not going to apply anti-aliasing because of course I want to get this down into the raw pixels. Then color, and this does need to be a color-like object. So I'm just going to put in something. It actually doesn't matter what it is, as you'll see here. And then I think the rest of this is fine. So this creates a surface, and then with a surface, we could blit that surface directly to the screen surface, but I'm going to do low-level pixel access. So if I go ahead and call this title, I can get title pixels. And just the same as before, I'll go surf array pixels 2D. Okay, that will give me some sort of NumPy array. Now what I would like to do is loop through that array, sort of like an image representing the text plus background, and put the contents onto the screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go here and I'll draw the text. Let's put a comment here so I remember. I'll say draw title at x equals 200, y equals 100. Okay. So I'll go through all of the elements of title pixel. So I'll go shape 0, and just to make sure, actually I'm just going to do this. We'll see what happens here. Equals title XY. Cool. So all I'm doing is I'm basically looking through this title array, or really title pixels array, one element at a time, and I'm copying over everything. So pixel by pixel, I'm copying from the title to that little sub-rectangle of the screen. I can play, oh, that's not good. Pixels 2D, yep, that is correct. Get the pixels of the title, okay. Now, this lighting's a little hard on my eyes, but there's basically, I filled in a black rectangle. That's where the text should be. I should see Pong in there. I'm not seeing it. This is very strange. So if I go ahead and I print out the title pixels, this might give me a better idea of what's going on. Okay, so if we look at what the terminal has given us, this sort of looks like the text Pong, except all the elements here, we've got 0 if there's no text pixel there, and then we've got a 1 if there is a text pixel there. So when I query this pixels array, I'm not actually really looking for the color, I'm just looking to see if there's an element in that array which is non-zero. So I can use that as a bit of a flag. So I'll just get that out of the way. And then I can go into my render and I'll say, if we've got an element in there, then I'll go ahead and set that pixel to green, just to get some green text, just to see. Okay, now a little hard to see, but we do have the green text in there. It says Pong. Now, just going to make things a little bit bigger, so I'll just go up to where I made that that font, and I'm going to put in an option for size. I'll just set it pretty big, 64. Awesome, now we've got Pong. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simplify this a little bit. I'm going to make a function which makes text, and then I'll make another function which draws text. And then I'll do some other stuff. So I'm just going to, I'll call this build text. We'll take in the text that we want to build, the font that we want to build it with, and this is going to return a NumPy array. Oh, and there's one more thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take in the color that I want that text to be. Because it's a little bit weird having to do this if test at runtime. It would be better to pre-bake it. So I'll just go ahead, grab this. Okay, this will be mostly the same. That I am completely going to ignore both title and title pixels in this function. I'm just using them as temporary steps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new array called pixels. And it'll be the same shape as title pixels, but I'm just going to make sure that it's unsigned. Integer 32. And then I'm going to loop through. So I'm sort of going to draw in. So I'll take this stuff here, copy that over. And I'm going to say, okay, well, if we've got a corresponding element set to 1 in title pixels, then the provided color is going to be copied in to the set of pixels. And this is the stuff that will be returned at the end. Of course, remembering to actually take in the correct label when we build the text in the first place. Cool. So what we're doing, again, is we're throwing away title and title pixels. We're just using them as temporary objects. We sort of render the text to a surface. We get a mask for that text, and then we use the mask to blit in the color where it needs to be. Cool. So that's interesting. Now let's go and draw text. Right, so we're going to need, I'm just going to call this actually the destination. And then the source. And it's not even, I'm not even going to call it draw text, I'm just going to call it blit, because that's really what we're doing, is we're blitting one NumPy array into another NumPy array. So we have the source that we're blitting from. We have the destination that we're blitting into, and then I guess we're going to need a position, so like an X and a Y. Now this is a situation where I'm going to do things in a little bit of an inelegant way, because we actually have two coordinate spaces. We have, let's say, ij, the coordinate space within the source. So like, imagine 0, 0. 0, 0 in ij will correspond with the top left pixel of the thing that we're copying. But then we'll have xy space, and 0, 0 ij will correspond to the xy position in the destination of where we're drawing. And having these two different coordinate spaces just makes it a little bit difficult to do that bounce checking that I was doing before. So I'm just going to do it in a dodgy way. So I'll go for I in so every I coordinate in the source that we're copying, let me just go the destination, I, will be the initial x coordinate plus I, and this is where I'll do a check. So I'll say if the destination I is less than 0 or bigger than or equal to the size of our destination, then just continue and look at the next x coordinate, and we'll do the same thing here. So we'll have j, okay, so we'll have the bounce check there. And now the question of writing pixels, because this array will have some space which is all zeros, that's where there's no text, and there'll be some space which is not zeros, and that's the stuff that we want to copy. So what I'm going to do is I am actually still going to check this. So I'll say if the corresponding element that we're copying is non-zero, then go ahead and copy that over to the destination. Remembering to offset the coordinate into the destination. Okay, so now let's blit that text over. So I'll just go down to the bottom. And I'll say, alrighty, let's blit into the screen pixels, blitting, am I just calling this title? Yeah. At x equals 200, y equals 100. and hit and hope, as they say. Oh, my bad. That is fine. That should be a colon there because I'm type hinting. Okay, awesome. It still works. Very cool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to wrap things up. We'll make a subtitle, like press space to enter. And then we'll go ahead and I'll draw that. And I'll draw that at reversed position, so 100, 200, I think. And just experiment with this, see what works best. Cool, Pong. Press space to play. So this is text. I know that it gets a little in the weeds, but it works. Join me in the next video where we actually press space to play and investigate some different game modes. Hope to see you there.